Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back aboard the classroom here tonight. I got a big apology to make to you all. I've been here since yesterday. Uh, got just got involved in projects, and yeah, I brought camera with me, and I just haven't recorded anything. And for that, I am sorry. Um, what has happened in the last 24 hours is finally the Seacock for the AC water pump. Got that taken care of. Luckily, yeah, Bonehead, these grossy Seacocks, and I'll show that to you tomorrow. I'm not going to do it tonight. But there are two parts, and they've got a locking mechanism down underneath the back side of those things, and you got to feel it. And it's just a little bitty T-handle, about an inch and a half big. You got to unloosen that. Then you can manipulate the valve that opens that sucker up, and you got to lock it back down again so it seals back up. I did have to take this one apart and clean it up. The O-ring was shot. My lid is deformed. It's not supposed to be. Normally, and I've talked to some people about that. Normally, those lids don't deform like that. Instead, they tend to bust in half. For some reason, mine didn't. So, thank to God above, lucked out there. So, what we did do is I didn't grow up on a farm for nothing. So, that's all I'm going to say there. We got her sealed, got it back together, we got her sealed. And after I got that done, we turned it on, and, well, it worked, but I ended up with a bunch of water on the floor. And in my boneheadedness, I ended up the through hole for the discharge for the AC. Not only did I get the water lines hooked up wrong. Okay, I hear it. Trust me, I hear it. But I also managed that the plastic through hole that got busted. Well, I think it's been broke a while, but it finally gave up their ghost because it was spewing water. Instead of going out the boat, it was spewing water up in the compartment and then down the bilge. And so we spent the morning running around. My doc's here with me. We spent the morning running around looking for a new through hole. We ended up having to upsize a little bit. Nobody had a 3/4. Everybody and their uncle had the 1 inch. So that's what we ended up going with. We just enlarged the hole, put a new through hole in it, stuck the hose on it, and this thing's it's working. So we're good. And I'll say that tomorrow morning. Only thing I really got left to do, and I want to make a change, is the drip pan discharge. Right now, I just get the hose running down into the bilge, so it drips down in there and it gets pumped over the side. I think I'm actually going to do a through hole with it and just send it over the side right off the bat. But as you can see right now, I'm bouncing around. It's 11 o'clock on Tuesday night up here in northeast Oklahoma, and we're at the boat. It wasn't supposed to storm until tomorrow night, but yeah, Mother Nature's throwing a fit. So, yeah, and if you can just look right out there, it has calmed down significantly in the last few minutes, but that won't last very long. They were bouncing off the side of this slip like it was cool. Of course, I got a 14-foot beam and a 15-foot slip. I don't have a lot of extra room to begin with. I also did a little bit of fishing off the back side of this thing. Jason actually got himself a decent sized little blue cat. which we put back into the population.
3-4 pounds.
Hoping to fatten him up a little bit so the next time that we catch him, little buttered garlic and a nice little beer batter. Yeah. So we're going to fatten his little Badinsky up. But anyway, just want to make this short, sweet, to the point. Like I said, it's getting pretty sporty out here. Probably ought to take our butts back to the house, but I don't know. This ain't nothing for us. We've ridden out. Yeah, me and this man, we have ridden out typhoons in the Pacific. So yeah, this is nothing.
But the only bad thing is, yeah, that's me. The only bad thing is, it's like we're on a little bit bigger of a, how should I say? Oh, a ship. U.S. Navy. Yeah, coming between San Diego and Hawaii, we hit a big...
It was still a freaking typhoon!
Well, that's still... But we were on a naval vessel. Basically an LSD.
LHA number 5. High 5, the USS Peleliu.
Yep, the Peleliu. But we had a lot of fun out there doing... I mean, they actually had to clear off the command deck and clear the bridge and the tower, go down to the lower half of the ship to be able to steer and do all the command. But other than that, it was all good.
That collapsed the forward bulkheads and a half a dozen portholes in the forecastle.
And about 3 foot of water.
And that was fun because that was directly above my armory. So yeah.
Salt water and military weapons don't mix too well.
Don't mix. So yeah. This little thunderstorm is nothing for us. But anyway, yeah, you hear the rain. Woo!
Might be able to see flash of lightning every now and then too. It's going pretty good.
Yeah. Of course, that's the way But anyway, that's where we're at right now. So, yeah, we got some stuff we want to do tomorrow, weather permitting, depending on how bad it gets. Get some projects finished up. I mean, we'll go from there. This thing is getting closer. I think this is the last dock they got to de-winterize. So as soon as they get this thing de-winterized, we'll be out on the water with it. So we got our air conditioners working. Our galley's fully stocked. All set up. The freshwater, as far as the cabin goes, freshwater is the next big major project. And some miscellaneous electrical. I've got some electronics, chart plotters, and sonars and that kind of stuff I need to get established. Anchor chain, but pretty much this thing's ready for the season, and yeah, it's getting pretty sporty out there. But we'll catch you again tomorrow. All right.
Hey folks, how's it going? We're here at the classroom again. This is Doc. You normally see Brad there, but the project that we're working on right now is our front seats here in the captain's in the doghouse.
The hell.
And these are not the originals. These are something that were made, and they were made pretty decently, but there are some flaws that we found. Unfortunately, we found them while almost underway on the lake. But if you look down here, what we've got is this area here is our main culprit of our problem. The back is a lot wider than the seat itself. So what we're having to do is take this out, modify it just a little bit with some 3/4 inch plywood. And this is only us doing this. This is not a professional way of doing it. But like I say, this is the classroom. And eventually, these seats are going to be replaced. We're going to go back to the original style that they've had in these in this boat when they first came out. And it's nothing like this. It looks more like a captain's chair. Now, as you can see, this moves around quite a bit. The reason why, and we've got our main culprit that we're working on right now, taken apart, is that they're only in by 4 screws on the bottom and 3 on the back. And what happens is, when you're leaning back in the chair, it acts like a fulcrum. So this will stay. These 2 screws here may stay attached to the wood on your seat cushion, but these 2 one in the back will more than likely just pull out, and that's where we getting a lot of our play. And unfortunately for us, when we were out on the water, we hit a little bit of a bump, and it went back enough to where me and Brad nearly went over the backside of the bench here.
Didn't exactly go ass over tea kettle, but it was close.
Yeah, it didn't go exactly over ass over tea kettle, but it came close to it. So what we did was went ahead and undid the bottom.
The other thing that we're getting ready to mention, if you can see the mark on this bracket where the seat was actually sitting, and the edge of it right there. And if you look at that, the screws were just barely in the wood. So basically, they weren't really holding on to anything. The same on both sides. The other side was actually a little worse. So it actually, over time, with that seat back just vibrating and whatnot, yeah, it just
ripped through.
It just ripped those through. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay a plank of this 3/4 inch in there. I think we're going to use 4 of them, strips. We're going to end up popping the seat up just a little bit. But we're going to make sure those screws get in there and bite into the wood.
Actually, on this here, we're going to go with, it's just a 1/4 inch carriage bolt. After we drill a hole through the plywood, which would be here, we're going to go ahead and nut it onto here. So now it's got a nice little piece in slight reference. Will be something like that. So now this board is getting sandwiched onto this with the bolts, and you can see exactly as soon as I get this thing out.
We're going to attach the seat bottom to this slat.
And you can see how much more space we've got compared to just that little bit that was being held on.
Now, how much more of a bite into the wood those screws are going to get.
And with the carriage bolts, you've already got a washer head, so that'll pull this down, the wood down to this metal, and then the nut's going to keep everything nice and tight. Then we can come off with screws and screw this directly onto the seat cushion, because it's got 3/4 inch plywood on the bottom of it, and the 2 of them will bite together, and that'll give us a more stable platform for the seat. Plus we'll have more of these slats spaced out throughout the whole bench, and that will give us a little bit of height, which is what we needed some anyway, because we were both a little uncomfortable trying to steer the boat while sitting down, and it just was at a slight uncomfortable height. So we decided to raise it up just a little scotch, and that'll work real good for us.
And if this modification works on this seat, we'll probably end up doing it to the passenger seat as well. But keep in mind, this is temporary. I'm not throwing a lot into this because I do have every intention of replacing these helm seats with OEM factory if I can find them, and that's getting to be a chore. So, my Trojan guys out there, if you're listening to this, if you've got these seats, hit me up, man.
All right. So, first off, we're going to go ahead and mark our holes where they need to be using a 1/4-inch bit, that's what that is. We're going to go ahead and just drill straight through on each of these to make sure they line up. Bolt them in. Put on our cushion. That way we know exactly where to mark our wood that we have to cut off, because this is longer than the seat is wide. And then we'll go ahead and go from there.
Yeah. And we're not going to record all of it, but we'll bring you back at the stages. So we're going to go ahead and get this attached and cut, and get both of them attached and cut and ready to attach to the bottom, then we'll come back. All right, go. Catch you later. And that's what he's doing now, folks, is we got the bottom cushion sitting on there. So we're tracing it out to get the access. Because we knew the slats were too long, and we did that on purpose. So we're tracing the contour out, and then we'll cut those off, and we'll be back. So what we're doing now, as you see, we're attaching the seat base back to those slats that we cut and attached to those rail brackets. And I know there's going to be somebody out there losing their mind over this. They got to understand, the original seats for this boat are long gone. And these are not a manufactured seat product. These seats are homemade jobs that somebody come up with. And just did
actually, they did a really good job of it. But
the idea was sound,
but their application was not.
Was a little wanting. So we're just trying to improve on that.
It's only going to be a temporary thing anyway until we get.
So I can find the original style seats that go on here.
Yeah. So like you said, any of your
my Trojan guys, if you're hoarding a set of these things, hit me up.
Now these here are just your standard deck
screws.
Deck wood screws.
Because in essence, all we're doing is attaching two pieces of wood to each other.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be anything fancy.
And we're trying to keep it short enough to where when it's squished down the pad, they don't perforate our backside.
So as you can tell, that's a 1 1/4 inch. And it may not seem like a lot, but actually that's pretty good for going through this piece into this one. Is still a good bite.
Yeah, it gets a pretty good bite into the base piece of the seat, which, as you can see by my finger there, that's another 3/4 inch piece. And if we get enough of them, I don't have to worry about this thing going anywhere.
Right now we're just going with 6. And not like really countersinking them, but sinking them enough to where they're going to grip. Some of you may be going, hey Doc, hey Brad, this is why are you putting in 6? You only need 4. You only need 3. It's like, hey, like I said, we are not professionals.
We're not professionals, but
we're just Joe Blow straight off the street that has a boat, and we're trying to do a little bit of fixing up, DIY, and this is all off the top of our head. Yeah. So if any of you got suggestions or ideas,
hit them in the comments, throw them at us.
Yeah.
And besides, and in the end, questions like that, it may come down to the a-hole answer. It's my boat. That's the way I want it. But again, if you've got constructive criticism, if you've done this and you know it doesn't want to work or whatever, yeah, by all means, let us know.
Especially if it's going to be catastrophic, hey, say something. Like they always say, see something, say something. So it's like if you see something that we're doing wrong that's going to be real detrimental, i.e. sinking the boat or getting somebody hurt, say something to us.
But be nice while you're doing it.
You don't have to go, hey, butthead.
Like, hey, I did that, it didn't work, try this. Okay, and I'm going to respond a lot better than that.
I mean, we're all here as a community, as a boating community, and aquanauts, or aqua nuts, because we love the water. And for anybody, and this series is basically for the everyday Joe Blow. The man who does not have $200,000 in the bank to get this nice $400,000 yacht and have upkeep with a full crew. This is just us on a lake in a podunk town that is wonderful area in central Oklahoma, northeast Oklahoma. So, hey, the reason why we're doing this is to show that anybody
can do it.
Anybody can do it.
Because if we can do this,
you can do it.
I mean,
yeah, it may seem corny on some of the stuff that we do, or like, oh my god. And it's like, you just jerry-rigged that to where it's gonna, all you need is a timer and a switch and a little blinky light and it's gonna blow up. Well, guess what? You may think it's stupid, but if it works,
it ain't
stupid. All right, folks. That's what we got for the base. Now, we're also going to attach another one of these planks.
We're going to go
right here
one
in the center.
Or two. Got enough room for 2?
Oh, yeah, we got a room enough for 2.
Because we still got to hit them base screws.
Yeah. So, we're going to put 2 more pieces on the bottom here, where we're going to have to cut it off. So, we're going to cut it off here and shrink it up a little bit. And we want it to where it's below the edge. So when you go sitting down in your shorts or your bikini or whatever the case you may be
wearing, you're not pinching your legs on it.
Yeah. And we also went ahead and smoothed it out a little bit with the sander. Doesn't take much. 120 grit. Just real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Take off all the red, rough stuff. And later on, when we feel that if this is what we want to keep, we can take these screws out. Seal this with a sealer of some kind, either an epoxy, a resin, or even a polyurethane, or even a valve varnish or spar varnish. And hey, it's all good in the hood for us because this is what we came up with, and that's what we're going to stick with until we can get or find something better and or cheaper.
Or cheaper, yeah. And on that, there's ideally, I would love to find the OEM, the original style seats, and I know they're out there. If I can't find those, I've got a couple ideas floating around in my head about what direction to go. But for now, trying to get this boat back on the water for this season, this is the route I'm going.
And if throughout the season, if it decides to fall apart on us, well,
we'll rebuild it.
We'll redo it.
That's what we do.
All right. See you in a little bit. Now, we don't have to be exact on our spacings, but we want it relatively close. I mean, we still want it to look good because, hey, this is our pride and joy. So if at any time later on we want to go ahead and fill these in with an epoxy or a resin, we can, and have it smoothed over, and it'll still look really good, but it's not going to be seen, so we're not too worried about that. And these 4 here, we just have to eyeball it. See that's cleaned out.
Good old-fashioned Mark 1 eyeball.
Yep. Alright, now that we got that done,
We're going to put the bigger bit in.
because we got a pilot holes already done. These are the only ones that we want to really be crucial about, because we're not sure what may be in this area. So got some foam and stuffings. Now for the slow motion episode cut and go. Alright.
And you're lucky. I got to live with this. Alright, folks, here we are, finished project. We've got the seat mounted back on the pedestal. Well, somewhat finished, but it gets us into this season. I don't know, before y'all sound off on it, yeah, we know. There's this gap here on this upright. And that is just, we tried our damnedest, but there's nothing we can do about that. It's actually the way that bracket was built when it and like I said, these seats are homemade. So they made these things, and they made these brackets, and when this bracket was welded, you can see right there how it poofed itself out. But as you can see, that seat is about as solid as it's going to get. We've got her secured down with 8 lag bolts to that pedestal. And that pedestal, it ain't no slouch either. That thing is 3/4 inch plywood covered with fiberglass. So it ain't gonna go nowhere. So eventually, I think what we're going to end up doing, we was sitting here cussing and discussing our options. We're going to pretty much eventually end up building, if we retain these seats, which is a big if, we're probably going to make our own brackets, and we're going to go a different way with them.
With safety purposes in mind, because right now, anybody who comes by
is going to get an ouchie.
Yeah, they're going to get cut here or here, and it looks like all they did was use a brake when they cut these. It's not a clean cut. It's not smooth. There's rough edges with sharp pieces on it, which we're going to take care of at a later time, but not during this weekend. And
the quick, easy, down and dirty solution to that, there's 2 ways to do it. Cut the weld down there at the corner, straighten it out and re-weld it, or just take a 4-inch die grinder and cut the access off. or build new brackets. We're leaning toward new brackets.
So we could still use the 2x2 inch angle iron, because I'm real happy with how solid these things are. I'm not happy with when they welded it, they heated it, and it bowed out, which is not what we want. You want it flush with your seats, so it's not going to catch anybody and cut them. And that's our main concern here, because if we have kids or grandkids out here on the boat, we don't want them bonking their head or their eyeball on any of these and hurting themselves. And good Lord, we don't want the moms to come yelling at us either.
Yeah.
Because we'll feel about that tall after we're done.
But the important thing is right now, it's back together. It's on the boat. It gets us into the season.
Now, that way we can have a little bit of fun on the water and still
not have to stay in the slip all the time.
Yeah.
So that being said, yeah, that's going to get it. Yeah. Well, we're cussing and discussing how to address that. That's not going to stay that way. Anywho's, and there we are. Oh, and I did find, I've been talking about, I did find my LED navigation lights, and I think that's what we're getting ready to attempt here in a minute or two while we still got sunlight, is get those put on. I knew I had them, but I found them. All right, folks. Alright, here we go. Like I said, found them LED navigation light fixtures. We got this side changed out. We ran into a little bit, one snag, but ain't nothing we ain't going to be able to fix. So we're getting ready to go over to the other side. And yeah, you can see they're a different style. Instead of being the old egg shape, the round ones. Oh, we'll go over to the other side and come back to you. Another thing, just, oh God. Look at that water. Look at this lake. How smooth it is. Don't you just want to be out there on it? Yeah. We're getting there. We're getting there. Well, evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back again. As you saw earlier, and we filmed a little bit of it. We did get those LED light. LED. That's all, folks. We did get the navigation lights switched out to the new LED fixtures. Got that done before dark, and then we went in town, got about to come back. We attempted, well, we got the hole drilled at least to put that plastic through hole in for the drain pan for the air conditioning unit. But you can see is running behind me right now, cooling this place off pretty good. We managed to break it unforeseen, so we'll have to go get a new one tomorrow.
I said I'm sorry!
And I beat him about the head and shoulders profusely with a wet noodle.
And I liked it.
That's the scary part. That's the scary part. But anyhow, yeah. I mean, things happen. Things happen, and that's one of the points we've been trying to drive home with this. Is
life happens.
This is. I mean, my God, if you'd asked me a year ago if I'd be sitting on a boat like this, trying to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish, I'd have told you had lost your ever-loving mind. But here we are. So that's, and it's going to show I'm not perfect. Nobody is. It's just these things happen, and you move on, showing how it really goes down. And then you don't have to have a golden or silver spoon to gnaw on to be able to do this. And anybody can accomplish it if you're motivated enough. And I just happen to be motivated enough. Now, and that's where we're at. We'll be leaving out of here tomorrow, but not before we actually. We're going to when we got to run in town, get another one of those 3 holes, which we know where they're at. We just have to go get one, and we'll get that put in, and then we're going to pack up and head back to the house because it'll be Thursday. I'm my partner in crime. He's got a doctor's appointment he's got to go to. Now then, I'm actually leaving out Friday. I'm headed back out to Washington State for a week. Yay! I'll be back next week. Hopefully, while we're gone, I talked to the guys here at Marina. They'll get this boat de-winterized. I won't, and honestly, folks, it's the only thing I'm waiting on to take this thing out on the water right now is for them to de-winterize it. With getting the seacock fixed the way it did and in functioning, that eliminates the need for them hauling this thing out, so they can actually de-winterize this thing in the slip. They don't have to haul it out. So that's where we're at on that. I'm excited. I'm really excited about getting this thing out of the slip, out on the water, and getting some of that content and some of the things I want to do out there and the adventures we got to show. And also the projects we got going on. We got other things to do, but we'll get there. This boat's slowly coming along. Like I said, she's giving up her secrets, and she's not in as bad a shape as I thought she was. So I think we're going to get her there. She's going to get there. And the next the next major, like tearing things up type project we got going on with it, and it'll be the last one. It's simply going to be just for the freshwater system. I got to put a hot water heater in and probably run some water lines, but the water pumps here, I don't know if it's good, but we'll have to see if it's good. I'm probably going to go ahead and replace it just for state of mind. Found a macerator pump for the poo tank and all that, so that's there. We got to get that taken care of. Vacuum pump for this vacuum toilet. Again, I'm having trouble finding vacuum pumps. Everybody and their uncle is selling rebuild kits for these vacuum pumps, but nobody's actually selling the vacuum pump themselves, and I just want a whole new vacuum, so I'm getting there. I'm getting the water system straightened out, and then the head. I got to get a sink, faucet put in the head for the sink. Found the rest of the part for the shower head. Hopefully it doesn't leak. I may go ahead and replace it, but for time being, if it works, I'm going to leave it be. So yeah, and I want to change the refrigerator out and some other things. Learn it, and we're ready to go. But boating wise, I think this thing's ready to go out on the water. And then my Navionics, and then we're getting there. Navionics, which I've got in a box right here beside me. That's where we're at. And again, like I said, I know I'm not perfect. There's probably better representatives of this, more charismatic, whatever. This is just me, folks. This is me trying to accomplish this, and I'm taking you along with me. I'm opening myself up and my world up to y'all and let you see that. And hopefully maybe you learn something from it, take inspiration from it, like, hey, if this guy can do it, by God, I can too. And that's the point. That's what we're after. So yeah, we're starting here in the slip, the DIY, and eventually we're going to get out on the water, doing things there. And then after that, the sky's the limit. Because I do have plans for this thing. And we're not, this is a landlocked lake it's on right now, but it ain't going to stay here, folks. This thing's going to see some territory. But I've got to get it in shape first. And other than that, yep, I'll catch you on next time. And Remember, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Hey, folks, it's the Doc, and I'm the second half of the Mutt and Jeff show here on the boat. We've got a lot of stuff going on, and I've been helping Brad out quite a bit with a lot of his projects that he's been having. Everything from putting in the AC unit to tracking down wiring and fixing lights and getting everything set up for this thing to be able to get out on the water. Like you've heard from him, but I'll also say it. We're a couple of blue collar working individuals. We barely got two pennies to rub together at times. Yeah, we live sometimes paycheck to paycheck, so we don't have a lot of money to spend. When we do, we get small parts. You may get a part here and a part there to start fixing a certain project. His thing is that he's trying to put out, and I think he does it pretty good, is, like he says, you do not have to be rich, you do not have to be influential or the who's who of whatever to have money or anything else to have a boat like this. A lot of people don't. You have a lot of retirees that buy a boat and then they slowly fix it up and enjoy it. Our main plans for this is for family, rest, relaxation, go out, have fun, make that family connection again, have friends out. You can have small parties of get-togethers. And when I say parties, it does not mean, hey, let's go grab a keg and a couple 12-packs of beer and there you are. But what we want is to have fun, relax, enjoy nature, enjoy the water, enjoy other people's company with this type of, how do I put it, this type of community, which is the boating community that you're part of or that you want to be a part of. That community is pretty tight-knit and kind of a niche of your area.
But very welcome.
And very local. Now, if you're in a marina or you're around a boat shop or boat repair and you've got questions, go to those people, guys and gals that work on these things constantly. They know these boats of any type and make and model. They're all pretty much the same. They float on water. They get propelled by a motor.
And they all have the same systems.
But they may not be the same systems, but some of them do. Ask them those questions that you have. Pick their brains. And a lot of the people, like our Marina staff here, I mean, these guys are great. If you ask them a question, say, hey, this is the problem I have. Do you have an idea of how to go and correct it? Or how to fix it? They're going to be going, oh yeah, do X, Y, and Z, and it should pick out the problem. If not, okay, well, I tried that. Anything else you can think of? Well, have you tried this or that? It's like, no, let me go try that. You may take you a couple days. You come back, hey, that worked. Go back up to them. Say, hey, thank you very much for your help on that, because I was lost. I had no clue what to do. But now I have a better understanding of how this is working and why it works and how to fix it now. You just gained knowledge from somebody who has the knowledge and that was willing enough to pass it on to you for nothing. by asking a question. That's my that's my angle on that. So if you do have a marina or a boat shop that you go to, talk to the guys, get to know them a little bit, ask them questions, say, hey, this is the problem I've got, how would I go about trying to fix it? They realize that these boats are an investment, just like your house is. Now, if you ask a carpenter, hey, how do I go about doing this? They're probably not going to tell you because, one, that's money out of their pocket. But with the boats, a lot of the marinas, maintenance crews, boat shops, they know that this is your investment. This is not necessarily your livelihood because it's theirs, but this is your investment, and they want to make sure that it's taken care of for you and that they give you the right answer. Because word of mouth goes a lot quicker than those keyboard trolls out there saying, oh, this is the worst cup of coffee I've ever had. Well, guess what? Don't go back to that place. But the guys, this is their reputation and this is their livelihood. So, go up, ask them, and if it works, let them know. Say, hey, it worked out perfect. Thank you very much. So, on that note, y'all have fun sailing out there, being out on the water, enjoying nature, enjoying the water. Enjoy each other's company, friends and family. That's what boating's all about, friends and family, and relaxation. So on that, y'all have a good night, and we'll talk to y'all later. Doc out.
You can see, again, I'm back at my kitchen table. Had a productive 3 days that we spent over on the classroom. Got a lot of things done on it, a lot of things accomplished. They said finally get the air conditioning 100%. And one thing we did this morning before we left, we did go to town, got a new through hole, got the discharge line put in. On a lot of those boats, they just simply run a line down, put it in a shower sump or run it in a bilge, and then boom. I just decided to put this one, just put a through hole and put it right over the side of the boat and just, be done with it. And you can also see down there originally, and I didn't take a picture of it, there's another copper, which I think is the drip pan drain for the original mermaid unit. And they made that out of, it looks like a 3/8 copper tube, and it went down and stuck out. Well, I got that. You got the through hole, you get the little piece, about half inch of that copper tube sticks outside the boat, and then on the inside of it, it comes in, bends, goes straight up, and for about 6 inches, and they got it cut and crimped off. So we just kind of, I plugged that, filled it full of silicone, seal it off so it didn't let any water in and caught it. And it's right next to the discharge for the regular AC, where I put my drain discharge is about 8 inches above that, where it just comes out of the pan, comes through the pass-through hole in the compartment where the compressor is, and then just pretty much a 45-degree straight angle right to the side of the hull to the boat, to the spurs on the through hole, and over the side she goes. So that's done. Both the red and green LED navigation lights have got changed out to LED. We got the seat put back together for what it is right now. We're still discussing how we want to, if we decide to stay with those seats, how we're going to probably fix that, like I said. But the one thing we can't agree on right now, and looks like, is probably just fabricate some new brackets and just be done with it. We talked about me trying to save those. For probably we're looking at some of the scrap metal we got laying around, and it's looking more like we're probably just going to fabricate some new ones and be done with it. What else did we get done? Put some more stuff away. Finishing down. We didn't. One thing I didn't get done. The one thing I do have left to do is I've got the anchor light on top. I've got a new one. I've got a longer one. It's just got a little short stubby thing on that. But if you pay attention to the way that boat sits, and so I've got an extended one, LED. It's about a foot long. So we'll be sticking. We need to. We got to collapse the bimini on it to get to it. And the wiring nightmare we got into last time we took that arch apart. So we're just. I'm probably just going to end up just getting a roll of black wire and a roll of white wire, probably about 16 or 18 gauge, and just go. And then just run straight up to the switch and just be done with it instead of trying to find anything. The wiring on that thing, like they put them brand new style fancy gauges on there, and it just when they just butchered all the wiring, and it just seemed to be beating about the head and shoulders for that. But that's the point. So that's going to be fun straightening it out. And then like I said, I got my big chart plotter. I got a Garmin chart plotter. I need to get mounted with its GPS dome up on the arch. And eventually I'm going to wind up with I'm going to get a Garmin sonar, like a 93, either a 72, they're going to be a 72 SV or a 90 series V or SV chart plotter with that live sonar and everything, so I can see what's going on underneath the boat. I'll pick up one of those and mount along with this 2010 chart plotter that I've got put on there. Out in the freshwater, just before I go any further on that, the bigger, everything is there right now except for the heater, and I got to get the water heater, and then I'm thinking it's the old school system, but they got these new variable speed pumps that meet the demands of the water system, and it eliminates the need, because the pressure tank's still there too, but it eliminates the need for that pressure tank. So I can just take that out and just kind of simplifying the whole thing, and they don't draw as much power as the old styles do. So leaning this bad boy out. But that'll probably later on this summer. The biggie right now is I get the air conditioning. I've got the refrigerator in and it works. We're pretty much ready to go. We can go out on the water and we can have a good time. Same thing I wanted to address, and I kind of got the notice in it. There's a little bit of backstory between me and the other guy on the channel, Doc, Jason. Like I said, this guy's my best friend of 30 some odd years. So I wanted to go, I met him in Marine Corps. He was McCormick. I joined the Corps. I've been over to Okinawa. I come back to Okinawa. I got those at Pelham, and then I got sent over. then I got dropped from my regular battalion, and I got sent over to the 15th MEU for a Westpac, and the detachment I went into, basically he was billeted with our detachment in the barracks. In fact, he was staying in the room right next to mine, and that's where we met. And Wayne him just kind of got to hanging out with the guys in my detachment, and me and him got to hanging out together, and we've been friends ever since. And somewhere along the lines, and how we stay in touch with him all these years. Well, and this is part that weirds people out, and I don't care. I don't care because they're happy, and he makes her happy. So, and she makes him happy. So everybody's happy. Somewhere along the line, with me and through our friendship and hanging out and whatnot, he got introduced to my widowed mother. I lost my father died. My father died when I was 16. Okay, and there it is. She was a widow in her early 40s, and they met, and opposites attract, or sparks flew, or whatever you want to call it, and I don't know. He's just kind of been hanging around ever since, and I know that weirds people out. It just weirds people out. Oh my God! Well, it is what it is. Like I said, I was a Marine. He was one of my corpsmen. We went on Westpac together. Went on deployment together. And if you can't tell, that man been through some shit together. And that's a bond that, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Just explain that dynamic. He's my best friend of 30 years. He was my corpsman. I was his Marine. He's part of the family now. Has been for 20 some odd years. So yeah, there it is. That's the dynamic there, and it's just kind of wanted to put that out there. But anyway, I'm going to close this up now and put it out. And also, I'm probably going to end up changing the name of the channel. I've been thinking about it. I'm probably going to end up naming the channel, make it hopefully something a little more easier or more apropos for all we got going on. But I need to close this up, get off here, because it's 11 o'clock, and I gotta get up in the morning. I got to take the truck in, get it serviced before I go pick up my load, and then I gotta head out to Washington State. And I got I've only got 4 stops out there this week. I'll then be back by Friday, which I probably won't. It'll probably be Saturday or Sunday before I get back. But anyway, that's where we're at. I'll cut this off, and I'll catch y'all next time.